You're good. Like it's a lot. As for scenes in the episodes, there was an episode, I don't remember which one it was, but Anakin. Okay, one of the episodes was Saltine.
Mm-hmm. You can use her name.
Satine. There's a part where a guy like has her through the ship, and he's like, "I'm gonna blow up the ship that everyone's on," and I'm the actual person that was like the bad guy. Mm-hmm. And Obi-Wan's sitting there talking to her, and Obi-Wan goes like, if you would have asked me to leave the Jedi Order, I would have left you. And we kind of get to see like Obi-Wan's own battle with, do I become a Jedi? Is this something that I actually want to do, or is this a lifestyle that's just not for me?
Yeah.
And it's one of those like gut-wrenching moments, especially like later on when you see how that story plays out, because that arc's technically not finished yet. But Anakin like walks up behind the guy and does the lightsaber thing where he turns it on through his back and like kills him. And he's like, "What? Like he was gonna do it anyway. I don't know why this is such a huge issue."
I'm just skipping to the end.
Yeah. So there's one of the moments especially where that happens.
I don't think I was actively watching that.
That's fine. There was another episode where they were all going and trying to get information from Grievous about something. Not Grievous. One of the.
Oh, you're right.
And he goes in and starts choking him.
You're absolutely right. I remember that.
And at the very end, they're like, "How did you get this information?" Because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like let's not talk about that right now. You're absolutely right.
Help me, BD.
I stand corrected.
Like I watch it all the time, so like
Yeah.
it makes sense that I
feel like, and I know it doesn't make for good television, but there needs to be times where they like sit him down or like, dude, look at your life, look at your choices. I mean, more than just Obi-Wan be like, now Anakin, from like his moral high ground. But there needs to be consequences for those actions. Like if torturing prisoners is going to be your thing, then own that thing or do not tolerate that behavior.
They can't prove what he did. That would be that one right there. Like they can't prove it.
I feel like in a real world, there are cameras that are watching the prisoner, and if you're like strategically turning the camera off right before you go in or shortly after you get in, that's enough to raise suspicion. And you're right, I can't prove a negative. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence. For instance, the man wasn't talking, and now all of a sudden he's talking during this convenient gap of camera footage. The fuck happened? Okay.
I don't think they have them on starships.
Obviously.
Look at all the stuff. Look at the last Star Wars movie where they're running through the ship together.
You're right.
And they're like, "What do you mean? How do you not know where they are?" They don't have cameras there.
There's no cameras in the future. Sorry. I was like, plot hole.
There's no cameras that far back in the past. You're going really far back in the past.
A long time ago. Yeah, they hadn't invented cameras yet. Intergalactic travels. Spot on. You want light speed? We got you. Cameras? No.
Cameras not something that we have currently.
Nope. Not to protect our prisoners of war.
And then he ends up like getting away in the end, and that's supposed to see how you slowly see how
the erosion.
The erosion there, and one of the things with Anakin is he never at least makes the excuse that he's keeping his high ground, which is something that like Obi-Wan is one of the only other few that I can see is like he doesn't like he really doesn't do anything wrong unless you count using the Jedi mind trick, because that is considered to be a dark side move. Because you're theoretically like looking at somebody going like, "Hey, you're
superimposing your will."
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's an episode where we get to see like Mace Windu, Anakin, and Obi-Wan, like they're like reaching into the thick person's head, and he's like, "No, don't keep doing this to me." I think it was actually the Cad Bane arc, who was the bounty hunter.
I remember watching that one with you.
And he's like, "Just stop! I'm done. I don't want to keep doing this." Then you have people like in Episode 3 when they go to confront the Emperor, where you start to see the complete erosion of the Jedi, and they're not even standing on their morals anymore. Anakin's like, "We need to bring him to justice. We can't do this," and Mace Windu just goes, "He's too dangerous to be kept alive." Which, while true, he is, it's not up for Mace Windu to make that judgment, and they have him beat, and then Anakin stops him, realizes he's kind of done the wrong thing here, but that is kind of where where it ends up, and you start to see like, okay, these aren't all good people. These aren't all. I was like, oh fuck, I'm about to get owned by that ram. And that's where you really get to start to see the erosion of what is happening to the Jedi.
The collapse of the Jedi Order.
Which, if you've read the expanded universe, has happened. It happens like every 1,000 years. Like the Order just implodes.
They get too big for their britches. Gotta hit the
was
redo
lit as a
button.
sign of respect
So
and reverence for the
it's not even
sage
they get too
buried
big
here.
for their
Control
britches.
Alt Delete.
The Sith always come in and wipe them out.
Okay.
But the Sith typically are always created by somebody in the Jedi, because it's like a lot of times the Jedi are like, hey, this is the easy way out. Stop trying to take the easy way out. And we're going to go into something you've never seen, which is Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. There is a person, a Jedi Master named Revan. Revan says, hey, there's this thing called the Starforge that will make me all the greatest weapons. That way we can go ahead and just stop the civil war between us and the Sith, and we could theoretically fight the Mandalorians and win and not have to worry about anything.
Do they view it as a civil war?
They do not.
Okay. Interesting choice of words. That's why I'm asking.
It's called the Jedi Civil War.
Okay.
They cover this in Knights of the Old Republic too.
Take your nasty tissues and put them in the trash can.
Thank you.
No, we're not accumulating those.
Oh no, I wasn't trying to. I really wasn't.
I know.
But
Just move the trash can closer to you. Like you're the one that needs this. Anyway.
I know.
Civil Wars.
Civil War. It's called the Jedi Civil War, and when you go talk to people on the street, they're like, yeah, the Jedi Civil War, and one of your voice options, dialogue options is, it was like, what do you mean? We were fighting the Sith. Like, the Sith are evil. And it's like, no, you're both space wizards running around with unchecked power and wielding your laser swords and fighting. Like, what do you want the rest of us to do?
Yeah, how do you expect us to view you guys separately?
Yeah, you guys, you're...
Okay.
And when you stop and think about it, no, like, I totally agree that. I agree that I would make the argument that, hey, the Jedi, while not evil, are just as bad as...
Just as guilty, for sure.
As the Sith. You have, and I've made this argument before, you have a, oh hey, I have these awesome powers. These kids over here have these awesome powers. You can't teach your kid these powers. Your kid's very special, and that's fantastic. But I'm gonna take your kid away from you to teach them in our ways, and they can't speak to you ever again, by the way.
Yeah, no attachments.
Yeah, like, and it's one of those things where you think about that, I'm like, that is...
I'm better at raising your child than you are.
That is some next level, like, dog shit of, no, you don't get to be that way. Like, that you are bad people for saying that, and if the child afterwards is like, okay, thanks for training me, but I want to go back to my home planet, yeah, no, like, go back to your home planet. Like, I would rather have a Jedi there who's like, hey, I'm mindful, but I can study now on this. And the other thing we were talking about is, like, you have the Jedi Temple next to the High Republic courthouse, and it's like, that is like
separation church and state.
Oh, but I mean, it's like you have them next to, like, the most corrupt thing ever, politics. Like, arguably one of the most evil things that most people will ever think of is, like, the body politic. And we were making that argument, like, Luke takes them in before episode 7. When he takes a new group of Jedis and he takes them out to train them in an old Jedi temple in a place that's a little bit more spiritual. And I'm like, oh yes, that obviously makes sense to me. Like, why would you, like, why not do that? That's incredibly intelligent. You're taking them, to some place where it's like, hey, we can practice being mindful. We can see how the Force runs through nature. Not have them in they're all congregated in one place.
And just consolidated in one place that is known to be corrupt.
Yeah.
As politics.
So yeah, that's right. We were trying to think how to break that.
We're like, what do we do next?
I remember this is a couple moment sequence. But yeah, so we've gotten to see that, and that's the other, like, strange thing in Star Wars. Politics are very weird. Because you have the Senate, you have the Chancellor, you have the senators for their planet, you have their God, what are they called? What do we call when we send people to other states? Other countries. Ambassadors. You have your emissaries, which are different from ambassadors. It has, like, so many things. You're like, I don't know how this actually is supposed to work. Like, what is it that you guys want, or how is it that you guys want this to actually work? And that's always been a very like confusing aspect of Star Wars as a
universe,
as a
a
whole.
governing universe.
They literally, people, when episode 1 came out and they started to like see how that actually worked, they would like go and study and they'd be like, this makes no sense. In no universe would this ever actually work. That's right, the water was falling, the water was putting out.
Yep, that took us a couple minutes too.
Yeah.
It's obvious now, we're like, oh, dang it.
Yeah.
Hashtag problem solving.
It was... I've enjoyed every puzzle in this game. Let's see, what's something else that we've definitely seen, especially with how Star Wars is going now? We've got to see the clones. We got to see the episodes with... what do you think about the episodes like with Ahsoka where she like goes to like the seedy underbelly with the other really old Jedi? And he's like, you got to go slow, young one. Like,
I really like those. I appreciate that Ahsoka is getting like they're all her teachers, and she can learn something from all of them. Like I know you're assigned a particular mentor and stuff like that. But I like that it is a teaching culture. Everyone can learn from everyone. I really love that the Padawans can come in and teach the younglings. Like, there's always someone who knows more than you, there's always someone who knows less than you, and it is your guys' job to teach each other. So I really like those episodes where Ahsoka doesn't only get the influence from Anakin or Obi-Wan. It's like, as the opportunities present themselves, she is allowed to go off on like little like tangential missions to learn and interact with others, and it just makes you a well-rounded individual. So I like those a lot. I really enjoy Ahsoka. She's naive, but she's smart. She's very capable. This is why I don't understand when you said that she is later like framed for murder, and everyone's just like, "Nah, it was totally you because your lightsaber." Like, again, haven't seen it. We don't need to get wrapped around the details of it if you don't want to. But I'm just like, but her reputation, like as a Padawan, it seems completely, I don't know, past performance.